All right, so let's talk about the Retroid Pocket Mini and the Retroid Pocket 5. In the last couple of weeks, Retroid has had not one, but two big announcements. The Retroid Pocket Mini and the Retroid Pocket 5. So let's go over what we know, which isn't a whole lot. I'll preface this at this time of making the video. Prices haven't been released, nor has a launch date, or really much of anything on the Retroid Pocket 5, so it's complete speculation. So here are the few stats that were released for the Mini. It's a 3.7-inch AMOLED screen. The aspect ratio is 4:3, and the resolution will be 1280 by 960. Also from rumors, it is going to be a premium device. And according to the rumor mill, there will be a glass that covers the whole top of the device. Kind of similar to devices that Aya Neo has brought out, like the Pocket Air. But the cool thing is that you can see there are ergonomic bumps in the back. Now, that is something that I am super happy about. I have a love-hate relationship with the printed grips that Retroid offers. I'm glad that they're there, but I just wish that they were part of the device. So now we have that. But the downside to the ergo bumps is it might not be as pocketable. I guess we'll see. Also, new information, just as I'm right in the middle of this video, Retroid came out with a tweet that they are talking about a Snapdragon chip in the RP Mini. What Snapdragon chip, we're not really sure. And the question remains, are they going to throw that into the RP5? So we're not sure. I wish that we had more information, but I love how they keep throwing out little tidbits here and there. And I keep having to edit my video. So my thoughts. So I will be honest, when I first heard about this and I saw pictures on the Retroid Pocket Mini, I wasn't really as excited as I thought I would be. Now it looks nice, but I wasn't thrilled about having a smaller screen on a Retroid device. Personally, I love how Retroid has typically had a bigger screen, aside from the Pocket 2S. I'm happy that they strayed away from the boxy look at the 2S and went with something more ergonomic. And this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I just wasn't a big fan of the Pocket 2S. It just, like I said, it was a little boxy. It wasn't as ergonomic. It was kind of running on the tail ends of the Retroid Pocket 2. Everybody that had that device, I didn't personally have that device, so maybe that's where it was lost on me. But I felt like the screen could have just been a little bit bigger. But anyway, when the Mini got announced, I was hoping that it would be more. It would be a little bit bigger. I get that they were going for a mini device, even though that's typically not what Retroid generally does. Came out with this design. Really, this is my Retroid Pocket 4 Pro that I got last year, earlier this year, I would say, when it actually arrived to me. In the last 2 years, they haven't strayed away from this design, which is fine. It works for them. Personally, when the 4 got announced, I was hoping for a little bit bigger of a screen. So when the Mini got announced, for those of you that are kind of along the same lines about the RP Mini, there's hope because Retroid announced the RP5. This brand new device will feature a 5.5-inch AMOLED screen, capable of outputting a 16 by 9 aspect ratio at 1080p. That's about all we know about it. So we haven't even, unless I'm missing a graphic, I haven't even seen what the back of it looks like. I'm hoping that maybe because we've seen some of the ergonomics from the RP Mini, that we will get the ergonomic backs on the Retroid Pocket 5. I'm not sure because they do have some 3D printed grips that they also featured. These are not grips. I thought they were, and then I saw this, and it says they're not grips. So these are what I think are back pieces that you can actually change the shell of your device. Again, there's not a whole lot of information out there, so just going by this tweet. They also look ergonomic, so that's very promising. I'm pretty happy with the announcement of the RP5. I think the larger screen will potentially be more of a competitor towards the Ion Odin 2. In my opinion, the top tier for the premium Android device is the Ion Odin 2. Side note, when I say premium Android devices, I'm not including anything that is over the $400 price mark, because that's just kind of a little bit obnoxious, and it's also spilling into the Steam Deck territory. And then that's when everybody's going to blast the comments, you're spending that much money. Why don't you just get a Steam Deck? Yes, I understand that whole logic, even though they're two different operating systems, Android versus Steam, but that's not what we're talking about here. Anyway, so I'm not talking about anything that Aya Neo has come out with that, you know, they have those $100, $700 bizarro, crazy, expensive devices. Not talking about those. Also, there were some colors that came out, and then Retroid retracted and changed a color or two. I wish they would have gone with something really awesome and bold. I mean, I got this red color when the RP4 and the 4 Pro were announced. They had these really cool transparent, there was an ice, there was this red, well, they called it watermelon. I had to get it just because Retro Breeze told me to. He likes watermelons. And they had an ice blue, or whatever the blue was, I forget. And then the classic colors, you know, you got your SNES and the DMG and classic black and things like that. Also, and let me show you this. For those of you that are possibly worried about Retroid coming out with more devices like the whole 3 and 3 Plus debacle, they've definitely learned from that mistake, and they're not going to do that again. I'm a pretty big fan of Retroid. I mean, they do a pretty good job. Aside from, you know, they did have the whole problem with the triggers, and there was a little bit of issue with some color saturation on the screen, and there was a software update that came out with it. I don't know. Maybe not get it on pre-sale or just wait. Typically, Retroid does a pretty decent job as far as their devices go. They had the whole issue with the triggers having a faulty trigger, but that was really only the first batch. And then they kind of took care of everybody, and they sent out a back plate, and they extended the warranty on the device. So that's pretty cool. I think that if they keep all of the components that they have on the RP4 line, they have Hall effect sensor sticks. Those are really nice. The D-pad is pretty nice. The buttons are good. They could be maybe a little bit bigger, but that's really a nitpick to me. And I mean, I like the device. I really do. My big thing was I wanted the screen to be a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit nicer, which I think that's what we're going to get with the RP5. So there we go. And really ergonomics. But that's just me. Again, I just want it a little bit bigger, which now we're going to get that with the RP5. It's going to be 5.5, and it's going to be OLED, so AMOLED screen. So that will be super nice. And the ergonomics, because this thing, it's flat. And then you had to buy a 3D grip, which wasn't terrible, but it was hard because when you got the case, it didn't fit in the case with the grip. There's been a couple times that actually I took this thing with me and I forgot the grip. So I didn't play it nearly as much as I thought that I was going to. So the only thing is going to be really the guts of it, because we don't know what processor it's going to be running. We don't know how much RAM, the internals. I'm sure the storage size is going to be decent. It's just really going to be what chip they're going to be running and how expensive it's going to be. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think if Retroid can price these pretty decently, I think they could have some potential winners here. While I personally probably am going to pass on the Mini, let's be honest, I'll probably change my mind next week. Who knows? I know that there is a market for these handhelds. Everybody's going a little bonkers on mini devices, even though not necessarily micro devices, so we'll see where this lands. But what's funny is they're still calling it the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Retroid Pocket Mini. The Mini seems like it's more of a pocket device versus the 5. The 5, I'm not sure how. The Odin 2 is a gigantic device, and it has a 6-inch screen. The RP5 is going to have a 5.5-inch screen. It's only half an inch smaller than the Odin 2. So I can't put my Odin 2 in my pocket. Pants, shorts, anything. Hat? No, you can't. It's a giant device. Anything that's more that premium, I'm not sure if you would want to pocket that kind of device. To each their own. I don't see anybody walking around outside with their Steam Deck just in their pants. So it's weird to me that they kept their company is named Retroid. It's not Retroid Pocket. So they could have easily dropped the Pocket off of the name Retroid Pocket 5. which maybe they were trying to keep that, but it's not really a pocket device. It has 5.5-inch screen. It's not. The Anbernic RG556 has, it's a 4.96-inch screen. It's a 5-inch screen. That's not a pocket device. You could technically shove it in your pocket, but why would you want to? Also, with something that has that big of a, that's that big and has that big of a screen and that nice of a screen, we're talking an AMOLED screen, that's going to be a really nice screen. It's going to be rich and vibrant, and it's going to be a nice screen. If you've ever seen any phones that have an AMOLED screen, they're just, Samsung's typically we're coming out with AMOLED screens. They're nice screens. It's definitely better than an LCD screen. That's something that you don't want to shove in your pocket with your keys and accidentally scratch the screen. So, just saying. I'm just nitpicking here, which it's fine, but I feel like you could have gone with maybe call it the RP5, but Retroid Premium 5? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you come up with some sort of brilliant, what could have they called it? The Retroid something 5, they're something, I don't know. Just feel like they could have done something there, but whatever. Also, and the RP4 Pro is a heavy device. It's not super crazy heavy. It's not Steam Deck heavy by any means. Here you can see in this picture that they just released the dimensions, and you can see the weight. So it is going to be a little bit heavier than the RP4 line. The Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. This doesn't feel like it's a pocket device. You could pocket this. I've never pocketed this unless I'm walking across the room, going into a different section of my house. But I've never shoved this in my pocket and done errands, taken this across town, driven around with it. Because I forget things, I'm going to shove my keys in my pocket with this and scratch the screen up. No, I don't want to do that. So this is a pocket device. This is maybe a pocket device. This is probably the extent of possibly the pocket device, and I would probably, it's right there, but it's a little bit smaller than the RP4 Pro. This is a pocket device, so side note, Retroid, you should come out with a Flip 2. Just saying. That's what I was hoping for, that they might come out with the Flip 2, but they came out with the Mini and the RP5, and they said they're not going to surprise us with anything else, so I don't think we're going to get the Flip 2 this year. Maybe next year? Hopefully next year? Late 2025? Hopefully. We'll see. Just throwing it out there. So I'm just hoping that, if you can see, that they get the ergonomic bumps. I need ergonomic bumps on a premium device that has an AMOLED screen. And because this thing, I can play this for a very long time. The only handheld that I own, because I'm not cool enough to have a Steam Deck like the rest of you guys, eventually, maybe Santa will bring one this year, I don't know. The only device that I own that's more comfortable than this is the Logitech G Cloud, because that's super lightweight and the ergonomics are just beautiful on that. It's probably the comfiest handheld I've ever used. So as long as they get the ergonomics right, then it'll be awesome. But it's not a pocket device. My guess is, with Retroid announcing it this far out, hopefully we will have a launch date before the big holiday season, and then everybody can order it for themselves and their loved ones and as a gift. But who knows? Only time will tell. As always, those are my thoughts, not yours. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about the Retroid Pocket Mini, Retroid Pocket 5. Are you going to get it? Are you excited? Stay awesome, everyone, and go play some games.